I'm Estelle. I'm a life and career coach, and I help mainly people. I like to define myself as a workplace humanizer because I help people feeling and getting better on the workplace, whether in terms of performance or just in terms of mindset and mental health. So yes, and I have a 20 years of experience in corporate experience behind me. And I switched because I truly believe that we can help people in a different way. And I really enjoy that. I'm based in Qatar, where we met. And I guess that's about it.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. There are wonderful parallels, I guess, against the topic matter that we're going to discuss and, the type of work that it is that you can do with people. I really like the idea of a workplace humanizer.
It's I like to I guess that most coaches relate one way or another with the clients. And unfortunately, in my corporate life, I've known burnout, I've known bore out. I've been across managers were shouting at me. I've been across people, I mean, companies firing me. I've been, you like it's okay. It's life on the workplace, but it affects us. It affects our self-confidence because sometimes just ask ourselves, am I really that good, or am just that crap, or it affects just our health. Just some people, when they have so much pressure over the shoulders, they just crumble, and you can't believe that it's just, I'm sorry for the just, work that causes this, and that directly attacks what people have inside them, because then it affects the family life, it affects the whole life. So sometimes people say, yeah, it's just work. But no, it's not just work, because we spend at least 8 hours per day on the workplace. And the same way family issues and our private life affect our work life, the same way our work life affects our whole life. So it's about balancing everything, but balancing is not an easy job.
No, no, certainly not. And you're correct, because you touched on, how we have this preconception around work that work is just business, and it's not personal. And it is. Work forms part of our identity,
Yeah.
and we place an awful lot of value and emphasis on doing what it is that we do. So you're absolutely correct on that it is an important subject.
Yeah, I guess it's I like to imagine everyone with some sort of backpack on their shoulders. It's your backpack of who you are, of your values in everyday life. I value justice, I value love, I value family, I value honesty. Everyone has their values, and every day we go to work or we go to our our house, and we have that backpack on our shoulders. And then at work, then you had sometimes a bit more things on your backpack, and then you go back home and your backpack is becoming more and more heavy, and there are things that it's very hard to lift off, because you just can't say, well, I leave the backpack here and I just go like a virgin of anything. I'm not a virgin of values, I'm not a virgin of feelings. It's just like, this is how it works and this is who we are.
Yeah, I think with that, I'd love to maybe jump right in and get an
Yeah.
experience of where you felt like your backpack has just kind of accumulated at the workplace.
Yeah, it was actually a few years ago. I was, I think, about 30 years old, something like that. So and I was offered that great position of being of working in a school to train. We were working in a school for students. Let me rephrase that. So I was offered this really nice position of managing a team of 10 assistants, 10 executive assistants, in a school that was providing law lessons for future lawyers. So it was a really nice job and a really great opportunity. And to me, it was an opportunity to step into managerial shoes. And I think, okay, this is the time. Let's try it and see what happens. And when I met during the interviews, the people, they had told me, well, you have to manage those ladies. And those ladies are, of course, older than you, and they can be tough. And they were super tough with the person who was there before you. So be careful. You really have to, to be tough with them and to impose yourself on the workplace. Okay. These ladies are administrative assistants, meaning that they plan and they organize the lectures and seminars for the students. But your role is to oversee what they do and make sure that the content is okay. So I went there. To me, the job was fantastic, jumped right into it. And of course, from the start, I was not accepted by the ladies. I knew the pressure, so I said to myself, okay, first, let's get to know you. Let them get to know you. So I organized one-on-one meetings with them and everything, but didn't work out. I felt there was some hostility, but it's okay. I mean, let's go on. Long story short, a year after that, I was feeling that things were not working properly. I could start feeling that the director of the school was getting frustrated with me. I was feeling that my direct supervisor, who was just coming maybe once or twice a week on site, didn't have the time really to help me and lead me, and I was kind of squashed in between the director of the school and the director of the curriculum, because I was reporting to the director of the curriculum, but at the same time, since she wasn't there, I was reporting more often to the director of the school, who was there all the time. So there was a mix of, who's really my boss here? Who do I listen to? And it started to be not clear because I was receiving different messages. But it's okay. I had a job to do. So to me, it's like, go for it. You have something to deliver. I'm the kind of a doer, like that. Okay, go for it. And then you manage the difficulties, how they go. Still not okay. The director started to shout at me, and I was finding myself more and more frustrated, starting to cry when I was going back home, starting to have heavy weight on my chest in the morning, not happy at all to go to work. I was feeling the pressure, and I ended up in some coffees in the area, crying and having a break because I didn't want my team to see me crying at work, because one of them may have affected me or something. So it was kind of a battle. I then asked my managers, okay, can I have the yearly meeting so we can get like a point of where I'm going? And it took them 3 or 4 months to grant me that meeting, that where am I going, because I'm lost. And it took them 3 months, and they did it during a lunch. Okay, very French, but but to me that was not really good because it was not kind of a nice lunch and eating, I mean, bad. And during that meeting, what was good somehow for me, or that although it was very harsh, because then they told me everything that was wrong about me, everything that I didn't do, everything that was, and I was stunned because I've never had those signals before. And I realized that from the day that I started, and a year and 4 months later, they had change in their view, in what they wanted to do or how they considered me. But I did not. I did not. And I was fighting. So it was kind of always fighting against the floor, whereas they were onto something else and something different. And they expected something from me that I didn't know of. And I didn't, I mean, of course, I could feel the change, and the fact that I wanted that meeting. But it was really hard. Of course, after that meeting, I was dead. Went back to my regular cafe, had a cry, went back to work, and off we go. At that same period, I think it was summer, I started to have more and more anxiety crisis, panic attacks, and my anxiety disorder raised and exploded with regular panic attacks. To me, panic attacks, because I started to know myself a bit, panic attacks to me are the sign that there's something wrong, and that it's like kind of a, the button that you switch on and off that tells you warning. So I started to have a look at it. I said, time to slow down. At the same time, I had a yearly meeting with the doctor that evaluates if you're fit to work. And when I started to talk to that doctor, I said, well, I'm a bit tired because I've worked, this is work. I'm tired. I'm working. And in the discussion, the doctor said, what you're going through is violence on the workplace. And I said, nah, can't be that. Yes, my manager is shouting at me. Who doesn't? Yes, my team is really awful to me. Whose manager doesn't have a team who's like sometimes disagree with you? It's like, it's normal life. To me, it was normal life on the workplace. Manager shouting at you, your team doesn't want to work with you and is always like on you. I said, no, this is violence on the workplace. And she gave me a phone number of a hotline to help people who are kind of victims of violence on the workplace. So I left and I was like, okay, this is worse than I thought. But then it was a light, like, plus the panic attacks. And then after another panic attack, I went to see my GP, my doctor, and it stopped me from working. He said, I give you 2 weeks off. And because yes, what you're going through is a burnout. Okay. So I stopped, and him plus the doctor, plus the meeting I had with my bosses, where I understood also, to me, the good things, like, okay, we're starting on the wrong foot with them, but it's not going to change. It will never change. And I understood that. So like, whatever I do, whatever I fight for, whatever, it's kind of doomed. So there are things that I won't be able to change, because sometimes you're like, you fight because you still want to change things. You still want to, of course I can do it. Yeah, of course I can change the mindset. Of course I can, reverse. Of course I can build a good team. And then at some point I was like, no, you won't be able to do it, because you don't have the support of your managers, and you don't have the support of your team, and you're alone. And the only thing that you will do is, you're gonna be dead. Somehow you're going to be too tired to do anything. So to me, I went on to those 2 weeks off that the doctor granted me to chill out. And this is when I took my decision to move on. I said, you can't stay there, and move on. And I applied for another job. What I learned also during those last months, during that period of time, is that the person before me, she had resigned also for a burnout, because the pressure on her from a team was too much. And when they recruited me, they had told me, well, the person before you, maybe she was too weak, or she was too friendly with those ladies. So we want someone tough. Okay, you want tough? I'll give you tough. No problem. Tough but nice, but tough. So and and it didn't work. What I learned by one of those ladies is that they had prepared my arrival by telling those ladies that, you see, you led the previous one to a burnout. She left, she resigned because of you. Now we're going to give you someone who's way more graduated than you and who's tough. And so when I arrived, it was doomed from the start, because those ladies do have A level. Most of them have an A level, but the experience, like more than 20 years experience in what they were doing, and they were good. But you still have this kind of, ooh, I'm not good enough because I don't have a high, I'm not graduate. And when you tell them, girls, you're going to see, we're going to give you someone who graduated from one of the best schools in France, and she's going to be tough, and you're going to understand how it goes. Of course, this lady, what do is, and this is how they welcome me. We're going to see how tough is the new girl. And these I knew much later. So this is why when I understood a year and a half later that it was doomed, I said, well, there's no point into staying.
Yeah, it really sounds like, and I imagine that it might have been traumatic for even the ladies during that time period as well. Like it sounds like the context was just framed in a way that doesn't allow for collaboration. You also mentioned a couple of things, like your body started realizing, your body was telling you from the anxiety that something was wrong, right? But there's a sense that you're normalizing all of the behaviors that happen. Like, it's okay, I can manage, and it's okay that there's shouting, and then there's okay that I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, I can do it. And I think these are all so indicative of what a lot of people feel in the workplace.
Yeah, exactly. It's and when you're young, there's always this kind of thing where you have to prove yourself, and I was somehow in that mindset also. I have to show that I can do it. I have to show that I'm a good manager. I have to show that I'm a leader. I have to show that. And so you end up with that backpack of I have to, and are becoming heavier and heavier. And it was a tough one, but I was happy and proud of myself to at some point say stop, and to realize that it can't go on like this. So stop, and let's move. Let's move forward. It's good learning as well. It's learning about myself, my body, what I can or cannot do, maybe, it's good learning as well for companies, and I mean I include myself, I say companies, on how do you do your job descriptions. And I think that would be one of my advice to people. You know, when you're recruited, sometimes you're recruited on a job description, and I think it's super good to have a first meeting right after with one of your boss. So this is my job description. I'm fine with that, but is this really what you need from me now? And have regular objective meetings and you know, catch up meetings, and how am I doing? What can I improve? Type of thing. Mainly the first month you're here, so that you start on a good place. Of course, I'm a great defender of the yearly evaluation meetings, because I know this can be hard for the employee and for the manager. But to me, these are so important to put objectives and to realign, because managers, and I was a manager, sometimes you're so focused on things, sometimes you don't have the time to take care, to nurture your team, to be a mom or a dad for your teams. And you trust them that they can do, and sometimes they just can't, but they don't ask you. So there's those times with the manager are good. And it's, yeah, to me it's very important to have those regular time to readjust, to talk, to have the feedback, and to be able to listen to the feedback also. Of course, to me, the big no was to tell my teams, you're going to see, we're going to give you someone, she's going to be so tough, you're going to regret to have.
Yeah.
Because also this isn't me. I mean, I guess I can be a tough manager. I mean, as in knowing what I want, and okay, you employ me to do something and I'm going to do it. But at the same time, I mean, what do you expect from me? I'm not shouting at those ladies. And when you're a 45-year-old lady, which is now me, when you see someone who's 30, who's put there, and we told you now you listen to the 30-year-old girl, you're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I imagine that you know, that well, it sounds like the setup was maybe awkward, and then it was a case of having to manage what the assumptions and the expectations that people brought to the table. And there's so many times we don't have that conversation around the psychology or the expectations of the work. But I wonder, I'm really interested to know how that experience actually affected you. And I know you said anxiety attacks, and I know you said burnout. Was there anything else happening?
I guess I mean, on the short term, yes, there was anxiety and panic attacks. And I would say health in general, mental health and physical health, with trouble to eat, trouble to sleep, you know, that kind of symptoms that go with it. On the long term, on my professional mindset, it was bad, because I lost confidence in myself, as in I failed again, because I had of course failures in the past, which is, I mean, to me normal, because it's the only way to move forward. Now I know. But at that time, I just could see the failures. And I said, well, you're not strong enough. Will you be able one day to manage a team? Are you a good manager? Obviously not. You know, it's yeah. Then I created all those beliefs about me, that you're not strong enough, so you have to protect yourself from the workplace, because it's a harsh place. So you have to make a compartment between your emotions and the workplace. Of course, it doesn't happen that way, so it's wrong. But that's a belief. You know, will you ever be a good manager? Are you sure you can be a good manager? Of course not, because you failed. So and this is more vicious because it's on the long term. And 10 years after such an experience, you can still be working on those limiting beliefs. When I was giving a new team, can I really do it? Not sure about that, because you still have this little, voice in your head that tells you you failed once. You failed once. So of course now you have more experience and you have, you're older, but still you failed. With your values, can you really lead a team? Will you be tough enough to lead a team? And you have this little voice permanently there. So it's about now playing with this voice, I would say. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it sounds like the timeline as well that you're mentioning around actually recuperating from something like that is years, as you mentioned. Maybe the anxiety and the physical health can recover a lot sooner, but yeah, as you said, the mental health, the mental well-being can take a while.
It takes longer. It takes longer, but also I guess it depends on the rebound. I found so I took the decision to leave, and I saw an ad in the newspaper. I applied. I went to the interviews, and just going to the interviews and having people recognizing my skills, recognizing my values was already it was good. It was good for my mindset. It was good for my mental health. So even if I hadn't had that job, it was good. So really, I would suggest to people, go and have your self-confidence checked by other, apply and tell others tell you that, oh, you have a great CV. This feels good. Anyway.
Yes.
And then I got into this job and I met a new team, and in this team it went smoothly. So I was not a manager anymore, but it went smoothly. We were really a good team. It was fun. It was nice. We were working hard, and it was good. So I rebuilt also my self-confidence by being in a team that was working well. So I could tell myself, no, there was something wrong with the previous team, how it was and the context it was. It doesn't mean that I'm not good. It means that within that context, yes, maybe I did not do things the proper way, or maybe I wasn't a good fit. And yeah, it could be my fault as well. And I totally recognize that maybe I did not manage things well. But it was in a context. Out of this context and into another one, it's okay. And I could be there with my values, with my competencies that were recognized, and who I was. And it was okay. And it was okay.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, the whole story that you've given us is a beautiful explanation of potentially what can happen and how confusing it can be. Especially when you don't know, you don't know what others have said, you don't know the environment that you're walking into, and it really sometimes is about the culture, maybe the organizational culture, but the judgments that we make of ourselves when we are confused or uncertain can be really damaging to our self-worth, our self-esteem.
I guess it takes also, but this is when I know it's not easy, because when you're in a situation like that, you create beliefs over beliefs. I can do it. I'm strong enough. I will manage. If not my boss, maybe they will fire me. I can't change because my family relies on me. And you have all this pressure, or I'm with this startup. If I leave, the whole project crumbles. And so, and it adds up and it adds up and it's super heavy. But I think, and the heavier it is, the harder it is to listen to the voices or the people that all the signs that tell you wrong, or be careful, be careful. And that, I think this is when you have to be open-minded to people and signs, and listen to the signs, and listen to the signs of your body. It can be the back sometimes, because it's heavy, and it's heavy on the back. And sometimes your back is, it can be panic attacks, it can be pressure, it can be crying, it can be overexciting, it can be more smoking, it can be, more drinking, it can be anything. And then have a look at what's going on. Also, if you start thinking, oh, well, is this normal? You have more and more websites on internet. You can check if your company is a toxic company. You have or you can do some burnout tests, or be careful, because not all of them are accurate, but you can already start pointing out a few symptoms, or is it too much? And the more you will have people, and maybe internet information, and maybe information from your doctor telling you, no, now it's time for a timeout. It's when you really have to jump and say, well, yes, I need a timeout, because otherwise. So it's really about listening to the people, listening to yourself. It can be asking a friend, hey, my boss shouted at me today, and can you tell me, like, objectively, if, okay, I did that and that and that, and then he shouted at me. Do you really think it's me, or no? It's no way. You can go, of course, and see a coach and discuss that kind of issues with a coach, and see how bad it is, or not. When you have, I think, at some point, too much pressure on yourself, to me, it's already a good sign. When you start telling yourself, I am strong, I have to deliver, this is when, maybe time to step back.
Certainly, yeah. Those are beautiful tips and key takeaways, I think, for people who are going through something at work. It's been really courageous of you to share your story. So thank you so much for doing this with us, and I hope for everybody out there who's watching, if you are going through something and you want to reach out, then please do, to either one of us, and have that conversation.
I think it's very important for people to don't stay alone, really. I mean, reach out to anyone, your friends, family, coaches, mental health practitioners like psychologists, or just your GP. If you feel like there's something wrong, listen to yourself, listen to your body, and no, the workplace shouldn't be something that destroys you. It's a place where you live every day, and you should be okay and happy to do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you.